Have you ever spent weeks, months, or even years thinking about an idea, nurturing it in your mind, refining it in private, believing that one day, when it's perfect, you'll finally share it with the world? I have. For a long time, I believed that if an idea was brilliant enough, it would eventually be recognized. Maybe not today, but someday. I thought my potential was a kind of silent currency that the world would eventually honor. But then came a quiet, gut-punch realization. The world doesn't reward potential, it rewards proof. No one pays for your brilliant strategy sketched in a notebook no one's seen. No one hires you for the book you haven't written. No one follows you for the wisdom you keep to yourself. Ideas are abundant. Everyone has them. What's rare, what's valuable, is the person who turns the invisible into the visible, who ships, who shows up, who leaves evidence. Welcome. I'm really glad you're here. This isn't a space for fantasy or hypotheticals. It's a conversation for those of us who are ready to stop collecting ideas and start creating impact. If that's you, I'd be honored if you'd subscribe to Elevate Your Daily. It's how we stay connected as we trade the safety of someday for the power of today. Today, I want to share what I learned the hard way, through years of thinking, planning, and preparing, only to watch others with less perfect ideas gain traction, build audiences, and change lives simply because they put something out there. I'm not here to crush your ideas. I'm here to set them free by getting them out of your head and into the world where they can actually matter. To break my cycle of endless preparation, I began asking myself 5 questions that cut through the illusion of readiness and forced me to confront the only thing that truly moves the needle: output. These are the 5 questions. What idea have I been hoarding that the world needs to see, even if it's not perfect? If I wait one more month to share this, what real harm am I causing to my growth, my audience, or my mission? Who am I really protecting by keeping this to myself, my ego, or the people who could benefit from it? What would proof look like for this idea, and what's the smallest version I can ship today? If no one ever knows this idea existed, will it have changed anything? Let me walk you through how each of these questions pulled me off the sidelines and into the arena. First, what idea have I been hoarding that the world needs to observe, even if it's not perfect? For years, I had a framework for personal clarity that I used in my private coaching. Clients loved it, it worked, but I never shared it publicly because I kept thinking, I need to refine it more, I need a better name, I need a full course. Meanwhile, I watched others publish simpler, less polished versions of similar ideas, and their work helped thousands. When I asked this question, I had to admit, I wasn't protecting the idea, I was protecting my ego. I was afraid that if I shared it and it wasn't the best, I'd be exposed as a fraud. So I did something terrifying. I wrote a short post explaining the core concept, raw, unedited, without a fancy graphic. I hit publish. Within hours, messages poured in. This is exactly what I needed. I've been stuck for months. This unlocked something. Can you say more? My imperfect idea, sitting untouched in my head, had helped no one. The same idea, shared in its messy human form, changed lives. I realized that hoarding ideas isn't wisdom, it's withholding. And the world doesn't need your perfect idea, it needs your real one now. Second, if I wait one more month to share this, what real harm am I causing to my growth, my audience, or my mission? This question exposed the hidden cost of delay. I used to think waiting was neutral, like pressing pause. But I've since learned that waiting has consequences. Every day you don't ship, you deny your audience access to your insight. You deny yourself the feedback that would make your work better. You train yourself that your voice doesn't matter, and you allow someone else to fill the gap you were meant to fill. Last year, I delayed launching a small guide because I wanted to add one more section. A month later, a competitor released something nearly identical, and it went viral. I wasn't angry at them, I was heartbroken at myself, not because I lost, but because I let fear silence a message that could have served people. Now, when I'm tempted to wait, I ask, what's the real cost of another month of silence? And the answer always pushes me to ship. Third, who am I really protecting by keeping this to myself, my ego or the people who could benefit from it? This is the heart of the matter. We tell ourselves we're protecting the quality or respecting the audience by not sharing unfinished work. But most of the time, we're protecting ourselves from judgment, rejection, or the vulnerability of being seen. I held back a deeply personal essay for months because I was afraid of being misunderstood. But then I asked this question, and the truth was clear. I was protecting my ego, not my readers. So I published it. Yes, some people didn't get it, but dozens wrote to say it gave them permission to heal, to speak their truth, to stop pretending. My fear had almost stolen that from them. I've learned that generosity isn't just about giving, it's about releasing, letting go of your need for control so your work can do its job in the world. The people who need your idea don't care that it's imperfect, they care that it's yours. Fourth, what would proof look like for this idea, and what's the smallest version I can ship today? Ideas live in the abstract. Proof lives in the concrete. For a long time, I confused thinking about my work with doing my work. I journal, plan, and strategize, but never produce anything tangible. Then I asked, what would undeniable proof of this idea look like? For my writing, it wasn't more notes, it was a published piece. For my teaching, it wasn't a perfect curriculum, it was a live workshop. For my coaching, it wasn't a flawless methodology, it was a real client transformation. So I started shipping minimum viable proof, the smallest, honest version that still carries the core value. A 500-word post instead of a book, a free 30-minute call instead of a full program, a simple template instead of a complex system. And every time, the response taught me more than a year of planning ever could. Because proof isn't about perfection, it's about presence. It's about showing up and saying, here's what I have. It's not everything, but it's real. Fifth, if no one ever knows this idea existed, will it have changed anything? This is the final, sobering question. An idea in your head is a secret, and secrets don't change the world. I used to believe that having deep thoughts made me valuable, but value isn't measured by what you know, it's measured by what you do with what you know. If your brilliant business model never launches, it creates no jobs. If your healing method never reaches a client, it heals no one. If your story never gets told, it inspires no one. Your potential is a seed, but a seed buried in the dark never becomes a tree. The world doesn't need more thinkers, it needs more builders, more shippers, more people willing to trade the safety of the unpublished idea for the impact of the shared one. Your turn, one simple step. If you're holding an idea hostage in your mind, here's one grounded step you can take this week. Ship one piece of minimum viable proof. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece, it just has to exist outside your head. Send that email with your proposal, post that short thread explaining your idea, share that rough draft with one trusted person, launch that tiny offer to your community. You're not trying to be perfect, you're trying to be present. Because the world doesn't reward potential, it rewards the courage to show up and leave proof that you were here. I'm not sharing this because I've mastered the art of shipping. I still feel the pull of perfectionism. I still want to get it right before anyone sees it. But now I recognize that urge for what it is, fear in disguise, and I choose again and again to prioritize impact over polish. And if you're in that same space, sitting on ideas that ache to be shared, I'm so glad you're here. This journey isn't about becoming flawless, it's about becoming faithful to your vision, your voice, and the people who need what only you can give. So if you'd like to keep walking this path with honesty, not hype, I'd be honored if you'd subscribe to Elevate Your Daily. This channel is a home for the builders, the shippers, and the quietly courageous, the ones who know that ideas don't change the world. Proof does. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one.